All right, here we are on another Coach's Corner with Coach Eddie Henning, which is sponsored by True Photography by DJ. DJ takes care of all athletics and other pictures throughout the HV community, ranging from games, prom, homecomings, and everything in between. Look her up on Facebook at True Photography by DJ. We did miss the last week. I had a kid sick, and then the week before we did it on Tuesday because we had homecoming. So we're back to our regular Wednesday. First off, I got to thank Danny Davis and Sportscast Media for allowing us to broadcast and bring this Coach's Corner to all of you. Also, big thanks to all the faculty at HLV and Tri-County, ADs Bo Jack at HLV and Amanda Sowers at Tri-County, HLV Principal Mark Tegler, and HLV Superintendent Brad Hohensee. So Coach Henning, the HLV TC Warriors were in a dogfight versus Winfield Mount Union last Friday, tied up 22 in the third quarter, and then ended up losing by 14. What were some things you liked seeing in a hard-fought game versus the Wolves?
Yeah, right up front, I think that this last week was by far our most physical game, as well as our most focused. So as far as, mental mistakes with coverage and assignment and different things like that, we had some mental mistakes early in the first quarter that definitely hurt us. But as a whole, I was very pleased with our physicality. Our guys were flying around, getting after it, getting into the ball game.
Hold on one second.
There we go. How's that?
Yep, you're good. All right, you were flying around, getting after it.
Yeah, guys were flying around this last week, and we limited a lot of our mental mistakes in the forms of things like drop balls, dropped snaps, roller snaps, stuff like that. That's hurt us a lot and gotten us out of rhythm or behind schedule the last few weeks. And thankfully, we did a great job at limiting that stuff. So physicality, mental focus inside of the whistles was really good this week. I was really pleased to see it.
Good deal. So what we saw, and then I looked at the stats on Varsity Bound that you and your coaching staff posted. We passed the ball a lot last week. As Keegan finished tonight, 17 for 36 for 4 touchdowns, while we only had 18 rushes as a team. Was this a game plan going in, or did something in the game plan change your original game plan to be a little more pass heavy?
I would say that's a little bit of both. We knew that going in, Winfield had some big fellas up front, and they wanted to keep you hemmed in and pound the ball against them, right? And we saw opportunity there going in that maybe we would end up being a little bit more pass heavy. But I would say that our goal was more to go with whatever they were giving us rather than saying, all right, we're going to run a lot or we're going to pass a lot this week. And the way things started shaking out, the goal being get our best athletes out in space with the ball in their hand. The best way to do that kind of ended up being with the pass in a lot of different forms. So obviously limited our run yards quite a bit. We went to the pass a lot. But our athletes showed up and got those numbers right. Like instead of Kale having 15 carries, I think he had eight or 9 receptions and like 77 yards, something like that. Right. So I was very happy with how we found ways to get the ball in our athletes' hands in space with whatever they were giving us. Right. So not necessarily going in thinking we were going to pass the ball maybe as much as we did, but it ended up that way.
Right, and I mean, even at high school, college level, anything, your quarterback finishes with 50%, all the yards, plus the 4 touchdowns with no interceptions. We did take that safety, but that wasn't really the quarterback's fault. And then, like you said, you got your athletes the ball. Rorta had a touchdown, McCullough had 2 touchdowns, and then Kale had a touchdown all through the air. So you got your athletes out in space and let them make a play. Defensively, Kale Weiskopf and Tristan Perkle took care of business, finishing with 26 total tackles between the two of them. How does Kale always find himself around the ball and finish off the tackles?
Yeah, as far as Kale on defense, he's just somebody that, number one, has great vision. He's got good football instinct. And that's hard to train into somebody, right? So he's able to feel out plays really well. He's athletic as can be, right? One of our best athletes, and then he just goes hard and wants to be there for the rest of his teammates, right? So he finds himself ways to be involved on every play, and that's a great thing. He's going hard for his teammates and putting himself in a great position to put his teammates in a great position.
Right. And then how much does it mean to have Tristan back playing 100% this week after coming off the concussion, 2 to 3, maybe 4 weeks ago? I think it was against EV or whatever it was. So, yeah.
Yeah, nope, great to have Tristan back. He is a great versatile athlete to have in the slot, to have at that linebacker spot, just because he's fast, he's got speed, he's got talent on the field, and he wants to play physical and he plays hard, right? So we can use him in a lot of ways inside of the offense, and he's a great, sturdy outside linebacker to have out on the edge. So it was definitely great to have him back and available for us.
Yeah, and I was talking about it last week. Like, he went from a freshman, now he's a sophomore. Now he's starting to get a little more comfortable, gaining that confidence. That's a big thing for him, is just to gain that confidence, and then have the confidence from the rest of the teammates to give him that confidence too, to 100%. Make those plays. Then you guys as well. So this Coach's Corner is brought to you by True Photography by DJ. DJ takes care of all athletics and other pictures throughout the HW community, ranging from games, prom, homecomings, and everything in between. Look her up on Facebook at True Photography by DJ. Then we're going to transition into this week. We'll be taking on the rival to the north, Belle Plaine Plainsmen. Preview how you think this Friday night will go with them.
Yeah, good to be back playing within the Sickle boundaries, headed 15 minutes north, so not going to be a tough trip up for us by any means, but it is a tough team. Belle Plaine, I think, by watching the film, has really figured out their identity the last 2 or 3 weeks. They've put themselves in the hunt. It's, if you are looking at paying attention to the district race, it's heating up a lot. We've basically got a 3-way tie going into this week. And they've put themselves in a really good position when, they've had a lot of change this year as well. They're having a long-time coach retire over there. A lot of their weapons from last year graduated. And like I said, they've kind of found their identity. So as they were last year, they're a physical bunch of guys. They might not be, the largest dudes on the field. It's not like it's a bunch of 300-pounders, right? But they go hard, and they're physical, and they play well in the scheme that they're in. So, for us, we've got a lot of great things to build off of that happened this last week. It was our most physical game. It was our most focused game between the whistles. And so that's all great, but now we got to step it up even more. But I feel like there's some things that we can do, right, with putting athletes in space, just like we tried to do this last week, that I hope can be successful against them as well. So it should be a pretty good game.
With Coach Bolin retiring over there, Coach Nillis over there, does he run kind of the same offense and stuff like that, the 3 guys in the backfield and stuff like that?
So I would say that many of the schemes are the same, but they're dressing them up a little bit different. So if based on film, they're still going to run some double tight and go the old style offense, but they're going to try and do some more out of spread look, keeping a wing in. They've done some empty with a wing, so they're using their quarterback as a run and pass threat. So they're running a lot of the same concepts, maybe out of some different formations, some different looks. So there's definitely some similarities in how they're playing, but I would say that it looks a little bit different on the field than it would have in traditional Belle Plaine teams of the past.
Right. Yeah, talking about their quarterback, that's what I had here too, with Aiden Tim, which we'll get to them. Will you and the coaching staff rely on the passing game for the Plainsmen, or put the ball on the ground, or maybe just see how the game goes the first couple of drives and see what they're giving you, kind of like you did against Winfield?
Yeah, no, I think we've identified some opportunities that we're going to have going into the game. So we're obviously going to try to target those early and see where it goes from there, right? And just like we did against Winfield, take what they're giving us. But I think we've got some areas that we want to be able to attack. But obviously, you've got to have a good mix on how you're going to do that attack and keep them on their toes. So I think we've got a pretty good game plan going into this week.
Good. So like you were saying, I was saying, seniors Aiden Tim, I think he has 400 some passing yards, 400 some rushing yards. So like you said, he's doing kind of both. And Wade Sankott do a lot of heavy lifting for Belle Plaine. How do you plan to slow them in the rushing attack down?
Yeah, well, first off is we got to match physicality, right? So as long as we are matching physicality with the front 3, and then we're able to flow well and read well up to the ball, we're going to be in a good shape to start. But we got to stay focused. They're going to try to run the ball and get you lulled into coming up and filling, and then they're going to go for a shot play, right? So as long as we're staying focused, we're staying sound on our assignments, and we're going hard, we're going to put ourselves in a good position.
So defensively for them, Will and Wade Sankott, and then Tim are the leading tacklers for Belle Plaine. How do you take care of them blocking or run away from them to give yourself bigger holes to run through? I don't know really if they play the linebacker or more the D-line or DN for them. So
Yep, so they're basically their 2 linebackers there are going to be their leaders. they go really hard. They fill really hard into the middle. They're going to try to keep you into the box and let those linebackers come up and eat, right, and fill hard and go hard. So number one, we've got to take great steps on the offensive line. We've got to fill those spaces and make sure that we're playing our double teams well, but we're ready to play off quickly to give our backfield a chance when we're in those running situations. And then obviously some things scheme and concept wise that we can do to maybe get them out of their preferred look, put them in a position that they don't see as ideal for them to play, and like we say, put the ball in space in athletes' hands. So.
Right. So we know this is still your first year here as the head coach for HLVTC Warrior Football. But tell us about the juniors, because we talked about the seniors last week and how they have bought into everything and how much they have helped make this transition from assistant to head coach. The juniors being Kale Weiskopf, Sean McCullough, Briar Jack, Gavin Smith, Colin Menacucci, Landon McDonald, and Garrett Reed.
Yeah, so, a great mix, great class of guys that have been really helpful and been great assets to really setting the tone for what we want this new era, what we want this team to look like, what working looks like, what off-season looks like. We've got some guys in that mix that, have been playing since their freshman year. We've got guys with experience, and we've got guys on the back end, that are setting an example on how you play scout team and how you take care of your teammates. So been super pleased with the way those guys have stepped up in so many ways between all the guys that you just named. But they've been great assets to changing this culture and being what we want to be. It's going to be great to have those guys with us again next year to really be able to level that up, and it's going to be awesome to see what they can do when they're seniors.
Right. And before we got started here, you did say that we're going to add a game. So next week we'll be versus Janesville. If you look at the Warrior cast, it is incorrect. It says we're still versus Lone Tree. But they unfortunately had to drop their season. So we'll play Janesville at home next week, and then we're adding a Week 9 game, you said, and that is against who?
That is against Cedar Ridge Christian. So just to clarify all the games coming up, we had obviously Winfield canceled their Monday JV game against us due to numbers, so we didn't play that this week. Belle Plaine has also canceled their JV game this coming Monday due to numbers. So then the next JV game will be that Janesville week, that Monday of Janesville week. We're playing Lone Tree since they're playing a JV schedule. So then we'll have Janesville at home, and then the following Friday, I think it's the 24th, something like that. Whatever that Friday is, we'll be playing at home again. So we'll have that Week 9 game in there.
This week will be the 10th and the 17th and the 24th. Yep, you are correct. So the 24th will be at home again, like you said, against Cedar Ridge Christian. I was thinking it was Cedar Valley Christian. He did correct me. It is Cedar Ridge Christian. They're out of around Waterloo area, and I haven't heard of them before, so we'll see how it goes, and best of luck then. Thanks for your time, Eddie, on this Coach's Corner night. Best of luck this Friday against the Plainsmen. We'll do this every Wednesday. We'll be live each week in the Warrior Cast. I will also repost on my YouTube and share to the HLVTC Facebook Athletics site. HLVTC will be on the road versus Belle Plaine Plainsmen this week. Reminder, I just posted this yesterday or the day before that Zach Schrapp will have this Friday night off, and we're going to get alumni. Brandon Leonard's going to be doing the Warrior Cast with me. I think you have some ties with him too, right, Coach Henry?
I sure do. It's going to be great to hear the call from B. Lenny.
Yeah, I saw on his Facebook someone said he's leveling up. So we'll be live starting at 6:45 with kickoff at 7. Thanks again to Danny Davis and Sportscast Media for allowing us to do this each and every week. Big thanks to True Photography by DJ for sponsoring the Coach's Corner. DJ takes care of all athletics and other pictures throughout the HLV community, ranging from games, prom, homecomings, and everything in between. Look her up on Facebook at True Photography by DJ. Thank you, Warrior fans, and hope you tune in Friday for a lesson.